I'll tell you straight, I never thought I'd end up on the business end of a neighborhood war, much less over a garage key. But here we are. Picture this, a quiet, planned community, a row of look-alike houses, and a guy who just wanted to mind his own business. That's me, Ben Carter, finished carpenter, certified square corner addict. I like things to be solid, honest, and mine. Turns out, that's not everyone's idea of neighborly. So how did it all start? Well, you could say it kicked off the day I moved into Meadow Ridge Estates. But really, the fire got lit when the HOA president, Karen Moore, queen of the clipboard, decided I was hiding hazardous materials in my garage and called the cops on me. Why? Because I wouldn't hand over my garage key. You ever heard of anything so nuts? Yeah, that happened. But let me back up a sec. When I bought my house, I was thinking about quiet mornings, building stuff in my garage, maybe restoring an old bike, not drama. I'd finally scraped together enough to buy a place with a real two-car garage, my one non-negotiable. My gray box, as I called it. And inside, two treasures, my grandpa's 1968 Triumph Bonneville, candy apple blue, a machine that was more memory than metal, and a mystery safe I'd hauled home from a storage auction. Thing was the size of a refrigerator, heavy as sin, and I hadn't even cracked it open yet. Just the promise of a secret in the corner. Life was pretty much perfect for about a week. Then a letter landed in my mailbox like a bad omen. HOA mandatory meeting, you know how that goes. The clubhouse smelled like burnt coffee and the slow death of hope. Karen stood at the front with a smile, so fake it should have come with a warning label. She talked about community like a pickpocket talks about wealth redistribution. Then, with her trusty sidekick Brandon flexing behind her, she announced her safety initiative. Everyone had to give the HOA a key to their garage. I looked around. Nobody wanted to be the first to say no. But I didn't buy a house to hand over the keys to my castle. I raised my hand. Karen's smile twitched. Yes, Mr. Carter. I'm not giving you a key, I said, calm as you please. She tried to sweeten it, made it sound like I was single-handedly threatening the fire department. Ma'am, the fire department's got axes, I said. Laughter from the back, pink flushed to Karen's cheeks, Brandon trying to look tough. It's for everyone's safety, he grunted. I just shrugged. I'll handle my own safety, thanks. That was it. The gauntlet thrown. Karen threatened fines, said she'd call 911 if I so much as touched my garage door without a compliance officer. She stared me down in front of 50 neighbors like she expected me to fold. But I knew what this was, not about safety, about control. Next morning, $50 fine taped to my garage door. This is your only warning. I laughed, tossed it in the recycling. My grandpa's voice echoed in my head. A man's got a right to his own space, Benny. Don't ever let anyone take that from you. So, I did what I came here to do. Opened my garage door, let the sunlight flood in, rolled out the Triumph, and got to work. Karen saw. Of course. She was already on her porch, phone glued to her ear, waving like a queen ordering an execution. 20 minutes later, a cop rolled up. Big guy, calm. Name tag said Deeks. Karen and Brandon trailed over. Karen's drama dial turned to 11. He's hiding hazardous materials. What materials? Deeks asked, peering into my open toolbox. We don't know. Karen snapped. Deeks was unimpressed. I handed over my deed, title, registration. He nodded, gave everything back. This is a civil dispute, not a police matter, he told Karen. And you, ma'am, don't call 911 unless there's an actual emergency. She sputtered, but that was that. Deeks shot me a look that said, hang in there, and left. Karen was humiliated. And if there's one thing control freaks can't stand, it's being told no. But it was just round one. That afternoon, HOA compliance showed up, clipboard and vest, demanding random access to my garage. I pointed at my no trespassing sign and asked if he brought a warrant or at least coffee. Neighbor Paul across the street raised his mug in solidarity, like artillery. I fired up the Triumph. Supervised, I said, the engine purring like a challenge. They left. I figured maybe, things would cool down. But that night, the game changed. Woke up at 2 a.m. to the sound of metal grinding. Security cam feed on my phone showed two figures in my garage, Brandon and some goon, drilling into the safe. I was mad, but not stupid. Instead of charging in, I hit record on my phone, then triggered my secret weapon. I'd rigged the sprinkler system with blue chalk dust. Seconds later, The intruders came flying out, coughing, covered head to toe in blue powder, looking like the world's dumbest Smurfs. Neighbors flicked on porch lights. Paul just stared, mug in hand. Brandon slipped, landed on his butt, then bolted, leaving a trail of blue right down the sidewalk. I had the whole thing on video. Proof of the break-in. Proof of who was behind it. Next morning, I called Sergeant Deeks. He came over, watched the footage, saw the blue-dusted idiots in glorious HD. He barely cracked a smile. Chalk dust, he asked. Harmless but memorable, I said. Good thinking, he said, serious again. You're in the middle of something bigger than a garage door. Let's open that safe, by the book. A few hours later, with a warrant and a police-approved locksmith, we opened the safe. Not full of old newspapers, but stacks of cash, fake IDs, and a black ledger stuffed with names, dates, and payouts. Karen's boyfriend Brandon, front and center. Every project the HOA paid for, pool, roof, drainage, had a matching withdrawal, every dollar missing from the budget. My jaw dropped. Deeks just nodded. You just blew this thing wide open, Ben. Cops took everything for evidence. Before they left, I snapped my own photos, just in case. Deeks warned me, don't talk to Karen or Brandon. If anything happens, call me. He wasn't kidding. Next day, a tow truck and forklift showed up, work order in hand, authorized to remove the hazardous safe. I stood my ground, called Paul. He rolled up in his full-size backhoe and parked it in front of my garage, blocking everything. The tow guys took one look and bailed, Karen screaming on the phone as they drove away. That, my friends, is what we call escalation. By now, the neighborhood was buzzing. But all it took was one big storm to shift the story for good. Heavy rain, clogged drain, and suddenly, a kid, Leo from down the block, stranded in rising water, his golden retriever barking at the edge. I waded in, grabbed the boy and the dog, and hauled them out. Leo's mom cried, neighbors watched, and in the middle of it, I locked eyes with Lisa Truman, quiet, always nervous HOA board member, standing on her porch with a manila folder clutched to her chest. Lisa showed up at my door later, folder trembling in her hands. I know what's going on, she said. That drain was supposed to be fixed months ago. We approved the money. Karen paid it to Brandon's company. I showed her the evidence. The Blue Man break-in, the ledger, the safe's loot. Lisa added her folder, board minutes, invoices, proof of the scam. She threatened my husband's business, Lisa whispered. But I'm done being scared. We built a timeline, video, audio, receipts, photos, all of it. Not just for the police, but for the neighborhood. The next HOA meeting was 5 days away. By the rules, we needed 25 signatures for a recall vote. I wanted 50. So we went door to door, me, Lisa, Paul, and showed the evidence. Neighbors watched the videos, eyes wide, anger rising. Some signed quietly. Some signed with a flourish. Dan, the guy with the prize petunias, signed without a word after seeing the ledger. Marge, head of decorations, signed but warned me she'd be watching my mailbox for illegal stickers. You know what I mean? Neighborhood politics. At first, people were scared. Karen sent a mass email. Lies, threats of fines, pure paranoia. But then Mrs. Jensen, Leo's mom, showed up, signed, and brought a few other mothers along. Suddenly, we had more than enough. Fear broke, replaced by resolve. The meeting itself was electric. Karen tried to stall, hide behind rules, call the petition nonsense. She gave me 3 minutes to speak. I didn't need more. I played the storm footage, her 911 call, the body cam clip where Deeks shut her down, and, of course, the Blue Man break-in. Laughter, gasps, anger. The ledger on the big screen, every missing dollar, every fake invoice, and the final image, me carrying Leo out of the flood. The room was silent. Karen tried to fight back, but the crowd wasn't having it. Let's swap keys, Karen, I said, holding up my garage key. Mine for yours. Fair is fair, right? That broke the tension. The vote wasn't even close. Lisa was elected interim president. Cops calmly walked up and arrested Karen and Brandon right there. The last sound of her reign, the snap of handcuffs. After that, Meadow Ridge changed. Lisa led with transparency. Full audit. Open books. Neighbors helped fix the busted drain. Paul brought out the backhoe again. Mrs. Jensen set up a buffet. Kids drew arrows with blue chalk. Even Dan brought donuts. For the first time, People talked on the sidewalks, laughed, trusted. We sold the empty safe for scrap and put the money toward new playground mulch. Word spread. At the grocery store, folks started calling me key swap guy. I'm not a hero, just a stubborn carpenter who hates a crooked line. Lisa ran things right, and the old fear was gone. One quiet afternoon, I finally finished restoring my grandpa's Triumph. Kicked it to life, sun in the garage, road open. Drove down the lane, neighbors waving, everything square and true. Maybe a man's home is his castle, but you need a good village around it. And sometimes, a neighbor with a backhoe. So what do you think? Would you have handed over your key, or stood your ground? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Was I right, or did I just make a mess? And if you've got an HOA horror story, I want to hear it. Let's talk about what real community means.